just thank you for spending your time to come in here this morning. I really, really appreciate it. Have you been into Downing Street before? Anybody been in before? Well, it's really good to have you here. And I wanted you here because I want to champion apprenticeships. And I don't think we do that enough in this country. I think that we need to be out there banging the drum for apprenticeships. Did you all know you wanted to do an apprenticeship when you were growing up, when you were, in your early teens, or is it something that came slightly? Who knew they wanted to do it? And then other people sort of along the way. But it's so important that we champion this, and I'm sure you agree with this because it's obviously what you're doing. Because the skills you're doing, the trades you're doing, they're really important. They're really skilled. They're much more complex than most people appreciate. And they do lead to good, well-paid jobs. And everybody knows that there's a cost of living pressure on most families at the moment, and dealing with the cost of living is one of the top priorities of me and the government, and therefore for you to be able to train into good, well-paid jobs which will help you along the way. Obviously our job is to create the environment through restricting price increases, whether that's prescriptions or other things, making sure that minimum wages are going up, and they're putting in place all the building blocks for dealing with cost of living, but there's nothing that beats a good, well-paid job. I go across the country all the time. I go to colleges and companies and businesses where they've got apprenticeships, because I find it one of the most uplifting things that we do, talking to young people about their apprenticeships. And in my family, my dad worked in a factory. So he was a tool maker. So he started off doing engineering and then developed into tool making. So he was an apprentice. He did his at night school because back then there wasn't so much of the day released. You tended to do a sort of 5-day week and then do night school for the apprenticeship. So that's the way that he did it. Are any of you doing evenings, or is yours mainly during the day?
During the day.
Yeah, so that's what, and then he learned his craft as a tool maker. And worked in a factory all his life. And so the only work environment I knew until I left home was a factory environment, which is why I love the idea of making things and doing things, rather than just thinking that life is all about sitting behind a desk with a computer or whatever it may be. So it's really good to have you in. In addition to championing apprenticeships, and I really want to hear what you have to say about it, because the question I've got for you in a sense is, how do we make more children and young teenagers, so I'm probably talking 13, 14, 15-year-olds, appreciate apprenticeships? What would you say to them if you went back into school, basically? Because they'd probably listen to you more than they'd listen to other people. So how do we champion them more? And part of my job as Prime Minister is to make sure that we get really big contracts in that can then feed apprenticeships for many, many years to come. So I signed a deal with the Prime Minister of Norway to build frigates, and so that will create apprenticeships up in Scotland for 15 years worth of work, not just in building the frigates, but all the, who's doing electrics here? Yeah, I mean you should see the electrics on these frigates, because I saw the electricians who were doing their apprenticeship up in the Clyde, and they took me on the frigate, and I reckon there was like 7,000 or 8,000 different wires, really complicated stuff across this frigate that all had to be done, really, really incredibly complicated stuff. But there's also the other bits of building up the frigate. We signed a deal with Turkey to build Typhoons. That'll be in Lancashire. Again, I went up there to talk to the apprentices. That'll be 10 years worth of apprenticeship work for them. Again, across a range of things, whether it's the engines, the data, the physical construction of Typhoons, and again lots of electrical work in a Typhoon, all of which has to be absolutely spot on. You'll appreciate that. And then even just last week we're up in Wales, in North Wales, where we're going to put a small modular reactor at the technical college there, where all the apprenticeships, these were people actually in North Wales who probably felt, I'm going to have to leave North Wales to get a job because there aren't good, well-paid apprenticeships in North Wales, and that was 6,500 jobs that we talked to them about last week. So everywhere I go, I'm trying to push apprenticeships. But really, I want to hear from you. Any question you've got for me, but can we just start with this one? How do we make sure that more people go into apprenticeships? We did have a target in this country that at least half young people should go to university. Well, that's a good thing, and it has meant many more people going to university. But I've taken that target down because I think it doesn't value apprenticeships enough. So what I announced 2 months ago is what we want is 2/3 of young people to go either to university or to a gold standard apprenticeship. So we're putting I want to put apprenticeship on a par with university to say they're both equally good things to do. It's a great thing to go to university. It's an equally great thing to go and do an apprenticeship, and we've got to value the two of them together. But what would you say in terms of your own journey, persuading young people this is a good thing to do, and more people should at least think about it?
That you're getting paid